to help predict very straightforward, boring births, and you have a couple questions about dot placement, this video is exactly for you. In this One Belly Wednesday, what we're going to be doing is going over how we put the dots on our patients so that when we are going ahead and calculate our angle, we know that we're measuring from exactly the spot where we need to be in order to have the angle be valid for us. Today, what I'm going to be doing is working with Dr. Ashley. I'll be demonstrating where we usually do our dots for our posture photos, but then the important dot that we're going to use for her hip, I'll take a picture of that, and then I'll go ahead and show you with the UT angle exactly how I measure that on the screen. So when we do our dot analysis here, I always find that these little sticker dots that I get from just any of, basically they're basically garage sale or sale dots, and I use nice bright colors so I can see them when I'm doing the analysis on the computer screen. So we have a couple places that we want to do. We want to do both hip bones, we want to do the 8th rib, just outside of the belly button, and then the posterior aspect of the greater trochanter. That's usually the one, if we're going to have any of them, that most people mess up. So pay close attention for that one. So the ASIS on both sides, go ahead and feel where your hip dots are, right there. So we got this friend and this friend. And the 8th rib, that's going to be right here. And then keep pointing to where your belly button is for me. Great. So then when we do that belly button dot, I always make sure that I put the belly button dot off to the side a little bit so that we can see it when she turns to the side. So just like that. And then when she turns this way, what we're feeling for is the posterior aspect of the greater trochanter. If what I'm going to do here is make this circle around from her backside, this dot is going to be the center of that circle. That is going to be the place that I'm going to use for my axis point when I'm measuring the line from the horizon up to her belly button. So here's a close-up of Dr. Ashley where we have our dot placements. Again, just recapping again for you, this is the trochanter dot that we're going to use. This dot right here is the anterior superior iliac spine. This is the dot that we're going to use outside of her umbilicus, and this is her rib cage. It's important for me to remind everybody that this dot usually starts getting accurate around somewhere between 28 to 32 weeks. We really want to see by 34 to 36 weeks that angle be somewhere between 20 to 30 degrees from the horizon, being that Dr. Ashley is not expecting. She's kind of looking like a first or second trimester mom here, so we're going to expect that angle to be pretty high. I'm in Google Chrome. What I'm doing here is I'm going to go to my browser extension for Protractor. I have cropped this image so that I know that I've got a level here in the windowsill, so I can make sure that that's parallel. That's all good there. So I can drop that angle back down here to where hip dot is. That hip dot here, I would then take this arm and it's going to go, here's the ASIS, and there's the umbilicus dot. So for her degree being 54, not really surprising. That's generally where I'd find most first trimester, second trimester moms, 50s to 40s. Again, we want her to drop between 30 to 20 degrees immediately prepartum. So I'd love to see that angle sitting there between 30 to 34 to 36 weeks. It really should be there for straightforward, boring births before 38 weeks. If you had questions about whether or not this was the right spot for where these dots should be, maybe your belly button's high or something like that, you could always use the rule of thirds here, where this top third, if you divide her belly into like a mountain here, and I've got 1/3 here and 1/3 here, that top third should be about umbilicus placement. Also, the other thing that I'm looking at as I'm seeing this in real time is that really this trochanter dot, as I said, should be the center of where her bottom would be if we were going to draw a circle around there. And I actually have this a little forward from there. So I would even consider, if my angle didn't quite make a lot of sense to me, maybe moving it off to the side just a little bit. Oh, I'm kind of moving that arm. Sorry, it wasn't my intention. Just moving that off to the side a little bit. And maybe that would be a little bit more where I'd like for that center for the axis for center of gravity. This changes. This is actually a good example of why we use this dot in the research that we published, because there was a really interesting study that said in posture photos for non-pregnant patients, this center of gravity is actually several standard deviations, meaning a couple inches forward from where it is during pregnancy in the study that we did. So again, not a super big surprise to see the trochanter sitting here versus where it would be for a pregnant patient. Thank you guys for watching today. Thank you also for subscribing. I'm really glad that you've been enjoying this content. I like answering the questions you've been sending in. And when you have patients that you have questions about, hey, did I do this right? How's this look? I'm always happy to help out where I can. Say, for those of you who haven't taken the module Advanced Perinatal Clinical Application through the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, I'm going to be back on the road teaching in Austin, Texas, coming up in December. But you don't have to wait. Or if you don't want to travel, if you're just going to stay home, whatever, that's fine. We do have this module online, and it's available now. It's a really, really great module where I go over things like the UT angle, but there's so much more. One of the biggest questions that you get is, okay, so I figured this out, now what? And that's exactly where I go through the hands-on applications as a chiropractor, understanding the neurology, understanding the fascial work. It's something that we put a lot of time and effort into to be able to bring that and spread the message. So if you have friends of yours that are chiropractors who are also really, they talk about birth and they get drooly, or if you think, hey, listen, this is something people should know because you might see pregnant women every once in a while, you need to know who needs a referral. I really encourage you to check that out. ICPA for Kids is the website. If you are a patient and you want to find chiropractors who are understanding how to do this kind of stuff, how to specialize in this kind of work in your area. But if you are already an ICPA member, look me up, check out that module. Take great